Okay, Eli, it's the fourth quarter. We're winning this thing. We've got less than 2 minutes left. Your main goal here is to keep that clock moving. We don't have to score again. You got to keep that clock moving. Can you do that? Right. I'm going to pass it. No, I mean, you could do that, and we might score, but no, we got to keep that clock moving. We're already in the lead. We need this. We just need the clock to keep moving. Can you do that? Yes, by passing. No, Eli, run the ball. I'm gonna pass it. Eli, just run the goddamn. I'm gonna wreck it. And that's how the Giants call plays. What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and welcome to week 2 of my weekly NFL pick show for the 2015-2016 NFL season. And yes, the New York Giants are that ridiculous. The Barnum and Bailey of the NFL. All right, now we're really getting into the swing of things here. Week 2, we're into the regular season. There's no turning back now. We're in it. Time to talk about last week's results very quickly before we get into the picks for week 2. Last week, I like to think I actually had a pretty successful week 1. I went 11-5 straight up in week 1. That's actually my second best week 1 of all time. 11-5 straight up, so obviously 11-5 on the season. Against the spread, my picks went 10-5-1 this week. I had to push in the season opening game. New England and Pittsburgh finished by exactly 7 points, so I took the push there. 10-5-1 against the spread. Again, I will take that any day of the week. Now, since it's been 2 years since I've been picking over-under, I had a pretty rough week 1 over-under. I only got 5 of the 16 over-unders correct, 5 and 11 for week 1. So the over-unders, they're a work in progress, but against the spread and straight up, had a great week 1. My platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks in week 1 went 3-1 combined, but I lost the big one. I lost out on my platinum pick. I told you to take the Colts to beat Buffalo. Buffalo beats Indianapolis big time in Buffalo in week 1. 27-14. I said the Colts would be able to throw all over that secondary. They weren't able to do it. Tyrod Taylor, you know what? He had a pretty good game. I got to eat some crow on that. Tyrod Taylor looks like an NFL-ready and NFL-capable quarterback. My gold pick of Miami over Washington, my silver pick of Carolina over Jacksonville, and my bronze pick of Kansas City over Houston, all 3 of those picks worked out. Respective scores in those games, 17-10 Miami, 20-9 Carolina, and 27-20 Kansas City. So platinum, gold, silver, and bronze, a decent start to the season at 3-1, but I lost the first platinum pick of the year. Ouch. Taking a look at the Bridgewater's Finest private pick'em pool for season 4 here. I currently sit in 10th place out of 47 managers. Now, I just want to take a second to highlight that number. 47. Last year, we started the season with 32 managers. We ended with 41. The fact that we're starting this season with 6 more than we ended with last year, that's huge to me. That represents to me a 50% growth in the Pick'em League. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining the Bridgewater's Finest Pick'em Pool for Season 4. So I currently sit in 10th place out of 47, as I said, 101 out of 136 possible confidence points on the season and in Week 1. That represents a clip of 74%. 70% is kind of the magic number there, so anytime you get up over 70%, it's been a good week. Shout out to our co-week 1 winners and therefore co-season leaders, GioKnows of GioKnows.com and Saving Ryan's Privates. Now, both of those managers in week 1 had records of 13-3. Excellent week 1 for both of you gentlemen. 118 out of 136 possible confidence points. That is a clip of 87% to start the season. That is huge. So once again, shout outs to GioKnows of GioKnows.com as well as Saving Ryan's Privates. You are our co-week 1 winners and co-overall leaders. And remember, if you check out the description of this video, you can get all of my against the spread and over-under picks for the current week's action. You can find information on how to join the Bridgewater's Finest Pick'em Pool for Season 4. Get us up over 50 managers, folks. You can find that information there. You can also find links to other high-quality NFL YouTube prognosticators all over the place. You can also find the link to our Facebook group, the NFL YouTube Prognosticators. Feel free to join up there, see content from all your favorite progs, and talk some football. All right, folks, let's get going here. Picks for week 2. We're going to start, as always, with the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks For week 2, the bronze pick, where as I mentioned I am 1-0. My bronze pick this week sees the San Diego Chargers traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Now the Bengals looked really good last week. Granted, it was against Oakland, who then also lost Derek Carr, so there's a bit of a question mark there around who's going to be Oakland's starting quarterback moving forward. But I got to give the Bengals props. They looked good. The run game looked good. The passing game looked okay. I think that's kind of still a bit of a work in progress there outside of AJ Green. But, Cincinnati's looking real good here. San Diego had a come-from-behind win. They had Detroit travel to their building. Detroit took a big lead on them early, but San Diego came back in that game. I had a feeling that was going to end up in a shootout, and I thought San Diego had more weapons. Turns out that was true. I like Cincinnati here just based on the fact that it's in Cincinnati's barn. San Diego has to do what Detroit had to do last week, which is essentially cross the country in order to go there. San Diego does not travel the greatest. So for the bronze pick, I'm going to tell you to take Cincinnati to beat San Diego in Cincinnati. The silver pick, where I am 1-0 on the season, sees the Tennessee Titans traveling to Cleveland into the Dog Pound to take on the Browns. Now, the Dog Pound is not the easiest building in the world to play in. They are a loud crowd, even though they've had some subpar teams. Cleveland, of course, facing a bit of a quarterback issue here. Brian Hoyer tried to do his best John Elway impression and was rewarded with a concussion, which means that Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, is going to get the start here against Tennessee. Tennessee on the road last week looked unbelievable. Again, granted, it's against Tampa Bay, so you got to, you got to take that into account. But Tennessee, looked fantastic. Marcus Mariota, 4 touchdowns in his NFL debut, and I think Mariota has a great shot here to probably be Rookie of the Year this year. I think over the course of the season, he's going to outplay Winston. And I like Tennessee on the road here. I had to think about this. I'm like, do I think Tennessee wins 2 straight road games? But it turns out that, yes, that is exactly what I think. I honestly think Tennessee gets their second road win of the year. That's going to be my silver pick. Tennessee beats Cleveland in Cleveland. My gold pick, where I am 1-0 on the year, sees the Tampa Bay Bucks, the aforementioned Tampa Bay Bucks, traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Justin, why the fuck would you do a gold pick of 2 0-1 teams? Well, simple fact. These 2 teams may be 0-1, but they were 2 very different 0-1s. This game also represents the largest line of the week, and it is the first double-digit spread of the 2015-2016 season. New Orleans is favored by 10 points at home. At first, I kind of bristled at that line because I thought, Jesus, these teams are both 0-1. How could you give them a double-digit line? But I think it is a reflection of the fact that Tampa Bay is that bad. Now, Tampa Bay does and can have a run game, so, New Orleans is going to have to respect that. They got to respect the fact that Tampa Bay can run the ball, even with Jameis Winston. I just don't think Tampa Bay is going to keep up with New Orleans' offense. That's still Drew Brees back there, and the dude can still sling the ball with the best quarterbacks ever. So that said, I like New Orleans to beat Tampa Bay in New Orleans for the gold pick. I like New Orleans to make Tampa Bay start the season 0-2. Jameis Winston is going to have to find some more crab legs. Can we just retire the Jameis Winston crab legs joke at this point? There you go. There's a question for you. The Jameis Winston crab legs joke, still funny or worth retiring? And my platinum pick, where, as I mentioned, I am 0-1 on the season. God damn it, we're getting that thing back to 500. The Baltimore Ravens traveling to Oakland to take on the Raiders. Baltimore at Oakland should be, for lack of a better term, a gangbang. Baltimore's defense actually looked fairly decent against Denver in week 1, especially in the second half of that game. Baltimore's defense did turn it on. Now, granted, Denver shot themselves in the foot on more than one occasion in that game with bad penalties. That said, Denver did still get the job done. Baltimore is 0-1. Oakland, on the other hand, was never in that game against Cincinnati. At one point, I think they were down 33-0. That game was not competitive from the first snap of the ball, and I fear that Oakland's going to see a lot of that this year. Baltimore do not tend to be road warriors, but if you go into Denver and you keep that game close with Denver and with that high-powered offense, they can't overlook Oakland because Oakland can run the ball, as I mentioned, with Latavius Murray. So it's not like they've got nobody on the team, but It's almost like they've got next to nobody. My platinum pick this week is Baltimore going into Oakland on the road and beating the Raiders, sending the Raiders to 0-2. Baltimore would even their record at 1-1. That's going to be the platinum pick. Baltimore beats Oakland in Oakland. Now let's take a look at the rest of my straight up picks in week 2 in the NFL. Here they come. That's the week 2 show for you, folks. Comments, hate, and love, you know where they go in the comments section below. It's time for the comment of the week from the week 1 video. Comment of the week this week comes from Robert Munson. Now, if you remember last week, I asked you whether or not the Deflategate judge got the decision right. I also asked you to drop dime on some AFC and NFC wildcard teams. Robert Munson's comment was, I would agree the judge got it right, but it was Brady. Anyone else of less stature would have gotten the suspension. As for the wild cards, AFC, Miami and Pittsburgh, NFC, Minnesota and Dallas. Kind of ballsy on the Minnesota pick there. I like it. Great show as always, and thanks for having me back for the Pick'em League. Always a good time. So thank you, Robert, for your comment. You are the comment of the week in week 1. We're going to close the show with my CFL picks for week 13 in the CFL season. Last week I was 2-2 from the week 12 games. CFL week 13, I like the Calgary Stampeders at home to beat the BC Lions. I like Hamilton at home to beat the Edmonton Eskimos. Some people are calling that a preview of a late playoff game. I like actually Ottawa on the road. Ottawa picked up a big win last week. I like them to make it 2 in a row. I like them to beat Saskatchewan in Saskatchewan. And the last game of week 13, I like Montreal at home to upset the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Those are the CFL picks for week 13. And that is the show, folks. Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Thank you for watching the week 2 video. And thank you so much about my week 1 video as well. You guys made my week 1 video, in terms of viewership, the second most successful football video that I've ever done on YouTube, and that is tremendously exciting for me. Thank you guys so much, everybody that watched and commented and participated in the week 1 video. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming back. Week 2's in the books. See you in week 3.